So good. So
Boom.
good.
There we are. And Elliot's here as well.
Cool. Well, do you want to start, Will?
Well, I'm Will. Yeah. Yeah, I'm Will. Caleb.
I'm Caleb.
Guys,
What to do? I don't.
Well, we gotta
just wanna
break.
say, like-
We gotta break out of the formality. We gotta break out of the like.
All right, I'm Caleb. I texted everyone a couple months, or it was like 2 years ago now, maybe more, about this like dream or this idea I had of like all of us playing together again because it had been a long time. And it was the middle of COVID. We hadn't seen each other for a while, so yeah, I hit everybody up and I did some guitar on the album and helped write a little bit, and yeah, we all assembled and it was awesome. Like, dude, I mean, I feel like I could go. Do you guys each want to do your own intro?
Yeah, I just know there's people that know me that don't know you guys that are watching.
True.
And I'm sure
Yeah,
there's people that don't know me that know you guys. So
I'm currently living in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and yeah, drinking a delicious mocha, and I don't know, trying to enjoy life.
Cedric.
so I guess maybe for context, so we're all at least brothers or cousins. So those of you who don't know, and we're all we all kind of grew up together. Obviously we don't really live next to each other right now, but
Seti, you want to go next?
I'll go next. Yes. I'm Seti. I am Elliot's and Andy's brother. And also Will and Matt are brothers, and Caleb's the lone wolf out there, the one other cousin. But I like to consider myself to be like the Kevin Jonas of the group. I feel like there could be some substance that I, can add to the group, but I'm not. I'm like the nerdy, one that just about probably
bro,
5%.
you're Nick Jonas for sure, dog.
Nah, dude, no way, man.
You're Nick Jonas for sure.
Matt, did you hear over, dude? I mean,
More like a guy, like a.
I mean,
I thought
Matt's
like
Joe.
yeah,
nah, dude. Will's Joe, bro.
I mean, I
think all of
definitely
you
look
guys-
the most like Joe. I
I think
definitely
there's
have.
there's more
There's
than
no-
three of us, so right off the bat, the formula's broken.
Look. You know what? If you think about it too much, it'll take us to a bad place. So I'm the Kevin Jonas of the group, and yeah, I brought the idea of freely. I also play piano. I can play bass, acoustic guitar, and all that good stuff. But I'm just here to write bangers. You know what I mean? That's what I do.
Heard, chef. I'm Matt. I was pointing this way because Will is my brother, and then everyone up here is a cousin. Um, I am the youngest of the group. I think as far as like what I brought to the group, I can really only sing. I play the piano to punk out chords, but I think I just was maybe more of a vibes guy, which is hard to quantify in a jam session, but maybe there's some value to that for people who are in creative spaces.
super needed actor.
You wrote a lot all over this project as well, which I think sometimes you forget, but like, we'll get into that
Yeah.
a little more as well. But you wrote a lot.
Sticky fingerprints all over everything. But yeah, no, it was a ton of fun.
Andy.
Hello, I'm Andy. I'm the oldest Conway, brother of Elliot, who on my screen is the top middle, but I don't think it's consistent. And then Seti with the headphones. I'm currently living in Nashville, pursuing music under Expedition Oliver, but decided to join these these five along with me to make six guys to do a little side project that I think turned out pretty good. And yeah, love them all.
Cool. Elliot, you want to give a little brief intro?
Yeah, I'm Elliot. I saw that the D&D server had people in here, so I just figured I'd hop in and join the conversation.
Perfect.
The DM. Elliot's going to be serving as our DM for this session. Yeah, and I'm Will. Oh, go ahead.
But I also live in Colorado. But I guess seriously, if people are wondering, I went on the trip with all of these people, and I don't play any instruments, but I had the fortune of hanging out in the background working while listening to the music it made, which was pretty enjoyable.
Dude, you're so humble, man. He literally wrote and recorded everything. Like, Every single song, like
The
music,
guitar is
lyrics,
just
guitar.
Elliot's voice.
I sang everything too. I didn't want to mention that, but it's whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah,
people say,
I'm pretty sure Elliot just made everything and we voted. I think that's what happened.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Did all the Tiffany.
The structure of this band is kind of like Elliot's like the head of an octopus, and we're all kind of like the limbs. You can think of it that way.
Yeah, I agree.
It is.
Yeah, and I'm Will, and I kind of like, I was floaty at the time, but I'm living in Pennsylvania now, and I kind of just, I was just real focused on trying to help capture it all. That's kind of what I was doing within it.
And you did it.
Yeah, I think we all were wearing different hats at times,
Yeah.
and we all wore that one straw hat at a point in time,
Yeah.
Such
might
all
have
wore
made
this-
an appearance. Yeah,
Mhm.
in the promotional materials.
Yeah. So, should we just get into it then?
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's jump in.
We want to listen to the first one, or do we want to talk about? How about we listen and then talk about it? We want to do that?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So, if you all could pull up the project on your preferred streaming service, for you who are following along at home, I'm just gonna play it and you'll be able to hear it. Everyone else is gonna mute and play it on their system. We're gonna hit play at the same time. So we'll start.
We're doing
with
like 3, 2, 1, and bounce.
play. Yeah. So is everybody ready in the Discord? We're all good.
Make sure you all mute too.
Yeah. Okay. This is track number 1 from Ours Not Mine. Ours Not Mine.
Drop us optimistic and chopping trees and shaking.
Oh shoot, I didn't do the countdown. Huh? Oh my gosh. Okay.
It's all right.
Sorry. Okay. We're starting over.
Okay.
We're starting over here. Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Drop us optimistic and chopping trees and shaking hands. Trip attention, stay in bed. Pull the torch and clear the land. Can we stop trying to figure this out before we start believing we've seen it all? We
Not too shabby.
Wait, gotta pause.
So dope.
Gotta pause.
So I guess, do you want to kick us off, Andy?
Yeah, because you brought
Give a
this.
little prelude.
I guess. I
And
mean,
honestly, Andy, could you talk a little bit about like because you brought this one, but I feel like another thing you brought was kind of the structure that we went into this as well. Like my memory is like you had a lot of thoughts
went into
about
the
like
song
how
or the project?
the project. Like I feel like you had a lot of good like a lot of the framework of like how we came in. I feel like kind of came from
Oh,
you. So
really?
maybe you could explain some of that as well.
I don't remember bringing a lot of that. I remember that a lot of that was Matt, but I I can tell you part of the. I mean, I don't know if I want to spoil the name of the song, but part of where the name comes from is trying to. I
No,
mean,
we should.
people, everyone attributes the song to me, but I didn't really like that we were attributing songs to each other, and I really wished it was like our songs. So the name actually comes from me being like, let's not naming these Andy's song or Seti's song. Let's just give them generic names because we don't like they're not. It's not your song. It's our song. It's not mine. And I think that's just a placeholder Will put. And to my begrudgment, we ended up keeping it. I was probably the only person that didn't like it, but everyone else liked it. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really remember contributing much to the structure of the project. Do you mean examples of what you mean?
Like bringing the idea of the song and then how we like work on it. Like you sort of just brought the idea and then it's like this is
Oh, the
what
song itself.
yeah.
Oh,
But
yeah.
that was the archetype for how we approached the rest of them, you know.
Yeah. It
Right.
set off a good precedent.
Oh, did it? Okay. I actually didn't realize that. I guess I don't know, like all these we kind of I mean, for context, we looks like Jared's asking a question. For context, we had all agreed to bring us half-baked song or a quarter-baked song that we were willing to let everyone else just mess with and make into what it is. So we're very explicit on like don't bring stuff that you are emotionally attached to. So I brought something that like I kind of liked, but I knew I probably wasn't going to use it. And it was basically I viewed it as a piano riff with a melody with no lyrics, and I think I had some placeholder drums in there, but and then Will kind of had a vision for it, and he really and at least me and him were vibing with what he was saying, and we kind of just took off from there. And then I know Seti and Matt and Will really worked on the lyrics, and I gotta say that chorus is a fire chorus. I was so impressed when you guys came up with that.
Yeah, that was Seti. That was Seti's melody. I remember because we were in the room with like the bunk beds, and you were playing us like the demo that you had, which was kind of like the piano and like some mumble takes. And then I think we even have footage of it where Seti like is like, oh, you know what would be sick? And he just belts that.
Yeah.
And, yeah, and then I feel like everything kind of got built around that. And I remember I remember there was a really pivotal moment for this song where it was like me, Matt, and Seti chopping wood outside and writing the lyrics. And simultaneously you and Caleb were in in the recording area just like jamming out and like laying down a bunch of like different guitar and like bass and a bunch of stuff like that. And I feel like that when I think of this song, it's like those two things happening together, like simultaneously. That sticks out in my mind. So I'd be interested to hear like what that moment was like for you two, and then I'd also be interested to hear like Seti and Matt, like any remembrances that you have about like what we were shooting for with the lyrics here. So maybe you and Caleb first, Andy and Caleb.
Well, I think the moment you're talking about, at least from what I remember, when we were laying guitar down, you guys had already written a lot of the lyrics, and we were writing ambiance and that guitar lick. Um, so were you thinking you were also writing at the same time? Is that what you're remembering?
I just remember hearing a bunch of stuff being recorded while we were out at the woodpile, like, and just hearing that music like wafting out across while we were like coming up with like kind
Yeah,
of
we
like
were making a ruckus out there.
yeah.
Do you remember that, Caleb? I just remember. I remember me and him working
Yeah, I
after we
do.
had laid the lyrics, but
Because I thought the beat was so good. Like, I just thought I don't know what it was. It's like that once the ride comes in, it's like we were playing around with that, and then with like the trickle down of the toms, and I was like, oh, this is so exciting. And so then from there, I was like, I want to like dig into this with Andy, and you were vibing, and I was like fixing it. I was like stringing some guitars, and then we laid down. Just I don't know, just started doing guitar parts for like an hour or two, and then the bass came in. We were just like doing our thing, I guess. Um, yeah, I don't know, just kind of building out the backbone of it. And then I remember you wrote the riff was like "Da-na-na-na-na-na-na," like you had that in your head, but you didn't know how to like pull it out on the guitar. So like it was one of those things. Have you ever seen like Hail Caesar with like Ralph Fiennes where he's like, "Oh, if only but it were so simple." But the guy keeps saying like, "Oh, if only it were so simple," and he basically like the idea is like you can't. I kept messing it up, and you're like, "No, it's like this," and I'd be like, "I do it." I was like, "That's what I did." And you're like, "No, dude, it's not that," because there's like an eighth beat off, like in one part, and you just have you have like that really detail focused brain. I just could not get it for like probably 20 minutes. And then I just remember a lot of that back and forth of like you would have a vision and then I would kind of like bring it out on the guitar and then you would pull out the bass. So it was definitely it felt like a dialogue,
hmm
you know, of like
yeah,
this,
yeah,
this, and back and forth of that.
yeah. I remember that. That was fun. I do. I remember the moment that I was like, "This is fire." Is when I heard when Seti's pre-chorus for the second verse went into the chorus. I was like, "Bro, that like it just like it just hit me." I was like, "Man, this is a vibe right here."
Hmm.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I remember we like laid that down, and I forget. Normally, this is how it happens. So it's normally we have this structure of like what the chord progression and how the flow of the song is, and then it's normally like me, Will, and Matt that come up with like melody and lyrics. Well, help come up with the melody, and then normally Matt and Will come up with the lyrics and stuff like that because they're really good at that. And I just remember like we heard it, and I don't know who it was, but they're like it would be cool if it was like da 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 na 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 da na 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 na
That
na.
will.
It was
Yeah.
it was either
It
Will or
was
Matt.
I was listening I still am listening to a lot of like George Clinton. And when Andy shared that demo, that was like immediately where my brain went was like the drums like and that kind of plodding like dill, 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 dill. If anyone listens to George Clinton, they know it. But yeah, that part, yeah.
Which
But sorry to
I
interrupt
think.
you.
No,
Oh,
no.
sorry.
Go ahead, Matt.
I was just a quick word on the lyrics, and I think it was very much like a following the space of the song too. Like we had this, like it's a march, and I think we were like it'd be cool to maybe kick off with something like a little more like anthematic. So, but like I honestly think like people like our age and generation, or maybe like a little adverse to like anthems. Like I don't really feel like we have any like
Mm,
strong anthems that like represent
arena
like
rock
maybe
kind of vibes.
Nicki Minaj might refute that with a couple of her songs that touch the masses, but like I think it's like an anti-anthem, I guess, like pulling up all this imagery of like I don't know, like there's a lot of futility in the lyrics, and but yeah, I think it just very much followed like because we had the space of the song built out before the lyrics. But no, that's fun to write for sure.
Yeah.
One thing I'll note is when I had presented it, I had written the verse melody and what is now the pre-chorus melody that I had envisioned as the chorus. And I remember the verses were like 4 times as long as they are, and you guys just cut it like a fourth of the length and just right in the pre-chorus and hit that chorus. And I was like, dang, that just makes it. I don't know. I was very impressed with what you guys have done with it. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot who did like the pre-chorus stuff. I don't know how we came up with that. And like, did we have a substance for lyrically how we wanted to approach the song like beforehand, or how did we even come up with like the substance of the lyrical content?
Matt
I
came
think
up
it
with the
started off
concept,
with weird.
I felt.
Was it just like us being outside chopping wood?
Yeah, chopping
Like I think
trees.
it was like
Bro,
it was
yeah.
the concept
How much
of
wood
it was
chopping?
like how things move cyclically, right? Like
Yeah.
we come to this earth, like we start out doing, like you drop us in optimistic, right? We have our clean slate or whatever, and like you do your things to survive. It starts off as chopping trees or whatever, like your homesteading farmer, like pastoral imagery. But now it's like you gotta work the concrete jungle, like be a businessman, shake hands and schmooze to the point where like, I mean, this is like unrelated a little bit, but like now chopping trees is like chopping wood is a leisure item for it was a leisure item for us in that moment.
Yeah.
That's how we
But
blew off
I think that
steam.
was like the spark, right? It was like for people in history, this was like just like a futile task that they did. Um, and just kind of
And you're
riffing on that
doing it for
imagery.
like a reprieve.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a pretty good reflection of like the whole trip, though. It's like, we're going back to a more primitive way. I mean, not that it wasn't, it was very cozy. It was very cozy cabin. But I mean, just to like, I don't know, we dropped all of our jobs and I don't know, went to the middle of nowhere, and like all we had to do was like chop wood for a fire and write music and go down to the town, get our food, and haul it back up the mountain.
Yeah.
And like that was it. Uh,
Which like
but
context wise, like oh sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say it was hilarious that you guys, like, Will, you brought up your perspective of being like outside a part of the writing lyrics and just chopping the wood, and then you're like, oh shoot, Caleb and Andy, you're like jam the f out inside. It's like really awesome, and it's hilarious because like I have the complete reverse perspective of like I was inside the whole time, and so then I came out real quick to like give someone a beer or something, and I just saw all 3 of you were just like sitting around just with axes just chopping wood together, drinking
Probably
beers. I was
shirtless.
like, what is yeah, shirtless, like in
We-
shorts, just like all this redneck shit. I was like, what is going on out here? They're like, yo, we're writing.
And it worked.
Just like
we did.
chopping. It was hilarious.
Yeah. And I like how the lyrics are like sort of honestly, I had no idea what this song meant. And like listening to it again whenever it released, because it was so long ago when we like went through
Yeah.
this process. And I'm like, Grandma's asking me, he's like, what do those lyrics mean? And like I was like, I don't know what they mean. But I tried an interpretation, because in a way, you can just view it as somebody in a dreaming state. And like, this is their dream. And it's like, can we stop trying to figure this out before we start believing like in nothing at all? And then like, the whole thing is someone in a dream state. You know what I mean? So like,
Yeah.
I like how there's different ways that you can sort of approach deciphering what these lyrics are. I still have to decipher them, so.
Yeah, I had the same thought. And like context matters too, right? Because this is like height of pandemia, like the world shut down. I think like a lot of us had on our minds like the contrast between just being like overstimulated and like having a ton of information being thrown at you to just being in the middle of nowhere. And like I think a lot of not just us, like a lot of people are wrestling with like apathy and like it's to this day, right? Like Like what is all this for? Like asking those questions when we had like those moments of peace.
To me, I've
But yeah.
always felt like this song is kind of like an anthem against apathy, and I love that the project starts this way because like I inherently look forward to getting together with you guys. Like it I don't know, like because there's something about all of us hanging out that's just fun at a base state, and always has been, like for as long as I can remember. And I think this project, like when I listen to it, it like works on my apathy in a way. And I feel like this song, it's like cool that it just kind of like directly addresses that in like a almost like a punchy way. Just starting out.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's a good contrast between like a little more abstract thought in the verses and imagery, and then you get the chorus, and it's that very anthem like because it's so like relatable. It's like everyone growing up now feels reasons taking place in my sleep. Like I'm losing my dreams. You know, I'm losing my imagination. I'm
Because
fading away,
reasons I
and
have to
that's
do
like
this,
so relatable.
reasons I have to do that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Should we move on? I feel like we've covered that one pretty
Yeah,
good.
let's keep
Move her on.
moving.
All right. So next up is Over, Over. This one was brought by Matt, but it's ours. You know, it's
Ours, not mine, man.
Yeah, but this was the seed that Matthew brought. So, do we all have it pulled up?
Yep.
All right. Ready? 3, 2, 1, play.
You've been holding on, I've been moving on. Tired of being wrong over and over again. You've always been strong, dragging me along. When I hold my own, fits in your vision. You slowly shrink when you blink. I'll be him. Over and over again. I've been holding on, you've been moving on to the new man that used to look something like me. Look how far I've gone. If it's what you want, I would do this all over and over. Slowly shrink when you blink. I'll be him. Over and over again.
Pause.
The butter. Oh,
Yeah, that one's silky smooth.
so good.
Yeah. That was my seed that I brought. And like as far as a concept, how it came to be, like honestly kind of stupid. Like we talked about how for each of our song seeds we could bring whatever we wanted. And I don't know if I told you guys this, but my goal for my song seed was to just like fill a gap. Like I honestly, and this might have been obvious because like my seed was like but a mere tiny seedling
It's like a bonsai.
of a song.
Little bonsai.
Yeah, but I didn't really like bring anything prepared. I was just like, all right, I'm gonna react to what we're doing and try to
Your
round out
idea
like
was
the
Lucas.
EP. It was like this meta
good.
idea, even though that's like
Yeah.
a curse. word. But um yeah, so like literally it was my turn to present and I went into the other room and like I didn't have anything. So I was just like plunking out on the keyboard and I don't even remember what I ended up showing, but I think it was just like one like a vocal melody for the verse or whatever and then like a chord progression. But and the other key thing was like, oh, like I think it would be fun to do like something in a 3/4 time signature. Like that was it. It's just like let's have these ingredients and then like I think this one turned out it's definitely a little raw, but like I this one went really fast, I felt like, and I don't know.
No, I
It's
do
good to see
remember
you.
walking. I do remember walking in the bedroom, and Matt's like coming up with the chords, and I'm like, "Are you writing it now?" And he's like, "Yeah." And then like the next day, he like presents these chords and then in like a melody or something. And I'm like, "Dang, you came up with that in a day."
Mm.
And I feel like this one got completed pretty quick, if I remember correctly. Just kind of like
Yeah.
in a day or two, it was kind of finished.
I mean, it's a short song.
Yeah.
Like,
Caleb
Yeah,
on
what
like
you
the
played like
guitar lead. I just
Not
like
to be
that
played
this
over.
I like that this showcased in a very like cuz Caleb, you're like your playing is obviously like a pretty big identity to this whole project. Like it's sprinkled in every single song. But I really like in this one it feels like a nice place for like
mm,
where your guitar is really just like front and center, like the main vocals singing, and like it's the hook. Your guitar's the hook,
yeah.
you know.
It's so funny because it like as the guitarist, like compared to what I usually play, I felt very backseat in this song. But like every time someone's like over, oh dude, the guitar. But because of like it being in that like accompaniment tradition is like what it felt like to me, like just with a little gain, just like very simple like chords and not kind of like all over the place.
Mm.
Um, I always just figured it just felt very mellow to me. Almost like, yeah, I guess I explained it already pretty well. I just thought it was really funny how you came up with with that idea because you were like, all right, it's these chords. It's going to be 3/4, and Caleb, you have to play the Gretsch.
guys,
Okay.
it's in 6/8. Just so you know, I hate to burst your bubble. It's in
Hey,
6/8.
I don't know music good.
I mean, they're very similar, but you know, just let you know. But yeah,
That sounds even better.
yeah.
It's
No, but like
it's a very Kevin Jonas thing for you to say, Seti.
I know exactly. Hey guys, I hate to say
Actually,
this,
No,
literally,
but thanks for saying that, Will. It is kind of nice, and that's comments I've gotten back to. Is people keep talking about like space in that song
Mm-hmm.
because like I think you particularly gave that a voice.
Mm.
I played the guitar, but I feel like you kind of helped pull its texture out when you were like playing around with the song in the mix and like
Well,
in Logic.
it was too, but I also remember, like, yes, that's true, but at the same time, and this was something I learned in general, with this project a lot, like as a producer, is like a part of the a part of the artistic project
Oh, we're getting
Bitcoin.
canceled,
process.
bro.
Sad.
I can't freaking speak. A part of the artistic process on this is like I remember recording that guitar with you. There's two things about this song that really stick out in my memory. One was recording the tracking the guitar with you because I remember how particular you were about finding the right tone for the backing and then for the and then for the lead. And I
Hmm.
remember we had like 3 phases of tracking those guitars where you were like, you know, you were sitting there for like 30 minutes just trying to find the right tone. And I think like you hear it a lot on this song. But I think it comes into play on the other ones a lot, like that intentionality, which guitars you're playing, like what kind of effects you're running them through. And from the producer standpoint, like when it did come time for me to like kind of get everything situated and like pick the best takes and stuff, it's like it felt like the material was so quality that it was really easy to just like realize it
Frame
fully. Yeah, instead of like
Yeah.
trying to like turn it into something it isn't, kind of. So, and then
Yeah.
the other thing that I remember a lot is writing this with Matt, like the lyrics with Matt, because these lyrics are some of my favorite lyrics I think I've ever been a part of writing, because they're like, you can view them as like
Yeah, it's
a
like
dude being the worst possible dude or a dude being like the best possible dude. So it's like depending on your state of mind, you can like go through and so those are like the
Well,
two things I have for this one.
I think I remember, like, I think the only thing that I contributed to this was I think me and Matt were working on that slowly spin, just the melody. I wasn't part of the lyrics, but the melody was actually different for that. And then Matt changed it and he like slowed it down. But also, like, I feel like in the past we've written songs that are just kind of bummy. You know, it's like you're talking about a breakup, you're talking about, all these bad things that happen. And I remember talking about, I was like, what if we wrote a song about like, we kind of switched it to where we're talking about being better for our girls. You know what I mean? Being better for our wives and stuff like that. Like, what if
Mm.
it wasn't about moving on, and breaking up or whatever? Like how the song sounds like it is. But I remember that being like hey, let's try to spin this to where it's actually positive instead of like negative. Um,
Right.
but yeah, and the other thing I'd say about this song is probably has the most potential for being like the cult classic that everybody knows, and just because of how memorable the guitar is and how like memorable like every single part of this song is. Literally, I'm a worship director, and one of my buddies who came to rehearsal for one of our services, um, he's a great guitar player, and whenever he hooked up to start rehearsing, he started playing that lick, and
Nuh-uh.
yeah, and I'm like, dude. He's like, you know what that is? I'm like, of course I know what that is. He's like, dude, that song is sick, and so it's like,
Nuh-uh.
yeah, and like because it's the chord progression, and then like it's like a musician's like cult classic song that just tickles their ears. So I think this has the potential to be like probably the biggest, underground success if it
It's
happens.
the 6'8", bro.
It's gonna
It's
be
a
the next
6'8", man.
play Wonderwall. Play over. What?
Yeah, right. No,
The dude
seriously.
Oh
in the corner
gosh.
with his electric
Play
guitar plugged in
overall.
instead of the acoustics. Like, all right.
Freebird. Yeah.
The
Um,
thing with that song is it was cut short, but like that's a song that I feel like I did play a ton of guitar on, like after, but we didn't include it. But like if we ever did do like a live scenario, like you could really go on a pretty cool jam with that song, like as a band with
Yeah.
all instruments. Like everyone would have a space for it.
yeah, I agree. Um,
I can give a little more like lyrical background too. I know we were kind of skirting around it. This sounds like someone in the chat was interested in a little bit more context. Again, like Will, you mentioned that maybe as any form of art, like it's open to interpretation. But, and I guess I'll preface this with like, I can only relate to some of this. Like, part of what I like about making, like, writing music, writing lyrics is like, I feel like every time I do, I'm doing it vicariously, or like I'm playing the part of someone that doesn't really exist. Like, I feel like I'm not like I am this person in this song to the extent that like I try to improve myself like in the context of my relationship with like my spouse. But there haven't really been times where I've been like a foot out the door. Which like I know like for some people they have been, so maybe like this can be related to, but just like a side note on like this is fun to write because of like being able to transport my perspective. Yeah, I think we kind of touched on like the lyrics are maybe a little bit misleading, but ultimately it's about like iterative improvement in a relationship, right? Like it starts off saying like, what's a good one to highlight here? Like maybe just the guy, or whoever, the point of view of whoever's writing the song is like, maybe it's not working out. Like they've been holding on, but I've been moving on, tired of being wrong, blah, blah, blah. And then there's like the spinning imagery. When you blink, I'll be him over and over again. Just this concept of like if you can be patient with me, like I will grow and like be this better person that you're asking me to be, or like that you need me to be. I think the lyric of like you've been moving on to a new man is might throw some for a loop, but like that would just be the like whoever's perspective this song is from. And then you go through it again, spin, blink, new person again, over and over again. But
Well, I think that one lyric is genius. It's like you've been moving on to the new man that used to look something like me. Like you're moving on to a better version of me. That like, you know what I mean?
right,
Used to
like
look.
there's familiarity, but it's better.
Yeah.
And you're still the same person. That's the thing that's so interesting about growth, especially like in the context of like a trusting relationship, right? Like you like it is kind of weird how like you're kind of constantly in between states of there always is another you're always going to hit replay on that, on that
Right.
iterative growth thing. And to that end, I actually
And this is just
go ahead.
oh sorry. This is just one side. Like this doesn't take into the account that like a relationship should be mutual. Like
Yeah.
maybe someone else is having their like maybe this person isn't even a reliable narrator. Like who knows? But sorry.
Yeah. To that end, I I know like mom was saying she thinks it's like a little too short and like that there's more to the story, but I personally do like the fact that it like ends short and it feels like you want to just restart it because it's
Right.
like over, over,
Yeah, it fits.
Yeah.
And it is funny because like we talked about this, but like it's all of what we just talked about, but then the backdrop of this like really driving like guitar riff. That's like I'm such a bad A, I'm improving. There's nothing you can do about it. I'm gonna be a better dude or person. Watch this.
Should we move on?
Yeah.
Okay. Let us. Do we all have freely pulled up?
Yeah.
All right. Ready? 3, 2, 1.
You passed on that? Out of my mind in the right way. Was taking my time and now I know that I'm the one. And I can't wait. Don't wanna hide and my mind's made. Not gonna try it now, I'm holding all I am for you to take. 'Cause I'm freely giving all of me to all of you to all of me. till nothing compares to everything you've done for me. So I'm freely giving all of me to all of you, to all of me to all of you. Freely giving all of me to all of you, to all of me. I'm freely giving all of me to all of you, to all of me to all of you. Freely giving all of me to all of you, to all of me to all of you. Freely giving all of me to all of you, to all of me to all of you. Freely giving all of me to all of you, to all of me to all of you.
Yes.
Honestly, what a tune.
Yes.
What a banger. What a
That song is
massive
a
banger.
jam.
That was the funnest to
Banger.
record, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that's when we collectively
Yeah.
had a lot of fun, like recording with you, because I think the recording process for that was a very much a joint effort.
We were all in the same room the whole time, pretty much.
Yeah,
For that.
right.
And that was also,
Uh,
I remember when you showed us that, it like lit the entire room on fire. Like that's a moment that will be burned in my brain forever. Like when you hit play on the demo and started like singing along to it, we were like, oh.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was
It was
definitely
also interesting. It was the most complete song I feel like we started with,
yeah.
Like said, he came with like something really fleshed out. I think some of us tried to avoid doing that, but I'm so glad you did because like it gave us the freedom to actually like do the things we do best because
Yeah.
we had the time to.
Yeah, so I think I was definitely the biggest overachiever in the group. But the other thing,
Kevin.
yeah, right. But it wasn't a baby to me. Like it was just like it was like a good song idea that I enjoyed, but I didn't want to take the time to finish. So where this idea came from, it is so one of my favorite worship songs is called "Awake My Soul," and it's in 127 BPM, and it has the chord progression that is used in this song, the 4-1-5 to the 2 instead of the 6, which is typical. And so I wanted that to be the backbone of it, but I also wanted to have that triplet vibe, instead of a simple like 4-4, because one of the greatest pop songs of all time, "Run Away with Me" by Carly Rae Jepsen, it
Yes,
uses those
sir.
it uses those triplets, and it's like such a vibe, and it's like so cool. And so I pretty much took those two things, and so I had the general idea of how the song would go, and I'm pretty sure the chorus already fleshed out, but everything else was up for like changing and all that good stuff. But it was definitely a fun process to write it with everybody else in the room. It was pretty sweet.
Yeah. Just recording those gang vocals. We like set up mics to capture pretty much the whole room, and then we were all just like full body. That's something like when we get we scream a lot in general, I think, when we're all together and when we're jamming. Like we're all very articulate musicians and very capable of making like articulate and unique music, like even when we're jamming. But there's a subset of our jams where we just pretty much enjoy like screaming and playing as loud as we can. And I'm just really happy that we got a chance to actually like do that and capture it in a way that like made sense in the context of this project and in the context of like arguably like the poppiest, like most polished song on the project too, where we just got to freaking record the entire room of us screaming and being idiots and dancing around, and it actually worked.
Yeah.
And I also like another thing that really sticks out to me about this one is like uh just designing the layers with you, Seti. Like because I remember this is one that we actually went back in a little bit later and added in some like sound design and synth work here and there. And it was just really, really fun to like jam in that way. Because it was like, said he would go in and like get on the screen, like adjust a few parameters. And like, oh, like it feels a little bit better this way. And then I go in and I'm like, oh, well, we could put a compressor there. And then said he goes in and he's like, nah, but the reverb's wrong. And it was just to get like these very particular details. And that was super, super fun to me as well. So those are the things
Yeah.
that stick out in my brain.
I mean, Andy even said the synthesizer that's in the chorus, it literally makes the song. Like I can't even imagine the song without that driving synth. And that's what me and Will, more so Will, came up with. I sort of had just the idea of the synth that I wanted and knew should be there. And then Will kind of messed around until he hit that one. And I'm like, that's it right there. That's the one that we need. And then the whole thing kind of just came together. And that's why it hits so hard when it gets that chorus, is because of that synth. And it's like,
Yeah. I mean,
Which
I'll say,
one? Are you talking about the airy one or the one that's like?
yeah, that
Okay, so like more.
Yeah.
Because I knew
yeah,
there
I'll
was
say,
two big synths in the chorus. I wasn't sure which one you were talking about.
Yeah.
I think it's a combination of the two because there's the one that's like swelling backwards. That's like, and then there's kind of another layer that's like just kind of constant and like yeah, like it's like that like raspy like kind of like
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah, when you guys sent that the version with that synth in it, that's kind of when I was a believer. Because I mean, you guys know me. I'm not really much of a pop kind of guy, so I was never really vibing with it, and that was fine because I knew it was more in the pop realm, and it had it had the lyrics, had the melody, it had the beat, but then whenever you guys sent with that synth, I was like, oh, this slaps. Like that synth really glued the whole thing together. I got it.
That's exactly what you were saying too, Seti. Was like this needs to, because I remember you were like it's too clean. Like it's like it needs to be dirtier, and yeah, it's such an interesting thing with pop music like that, which I feel like you're so good at like figuring out how to make stuff that like appears to be like squeaky clean pop. It's like knowing like the proper, like you're really good at knowing that even within that presentation, it has to be grounded to a sense of something like grimy in order for it to
real
work. Yeah.
Asymmetrical.
And that's even like whenever Adam Farrell, who mixed and mastered the project, like whenever he was mixing it, the first mix that he had on it, he used the gang vocals to make sort of more of a pad, and it was less gritty because it was sort of hidden and blended in. And we were all just like, no, like it needs that rawness. It needs that like sense of this isn't totally polished and clean. And then he dialed it back, and I think he hit it in like the perfect spot. Cause like the Alame has that reverb on it to make it like epic, and then it sort of just it all blends in. So yeah, it turned out really good.
Yeah, big ups to Adam Farrell, by the way, for mixing and mastering this project, because he absolutely
Thank you,
killed
Adam.
it. But yeah. What else is floating around for y'all with Freely?
Lyricists? I feel like you had a lot of lyrics for this one, maybe. So,
I didn't. I think I only had the chorus.
first.
This was
I'm
like
pretty sure it was totally done.
this was like classic. Like this brought me back to like our early songs that we wrote together a little bit, or like the process of that in a really nice way, and a really like kind of like wholesome way. It was like because you had the hook, and then I feel like we kind of like clicked right back into that like, oh well, let's come up with some verses. Like you got the melodies, I got some words that'll work, and they don't like you don't have to reach too hard. It felt really really nice, and not
Sure.
labor. It didn't feel over labored. Nothing about this felt over
No.
labored.
Right. Which was good because I feel like we labored a lot on a couple songs, and we needed some songs that were like easier to flesh out, or else it wouldn't have gotten done, you know?
100%.
But yeah, that's normally really. Yeah, that's normally like how it goes. I'll just write a chorus and I'm like, "All right, I don't know what to do with the rest of this song. Somebody else take it, please, cuz
Correct me if I'm wrong. I remember, didn't you bring the verses too? I thought the bridge was the only thing you didn't write.
No, I'm pretty sure that no, because I had the bridge melody idea of sort of where I wanted to go, but I'm pretty sure I had no idea where I wanted to go. Unless I just had a melody. That's like the only thing that I'm good at is like throwing down a melody.
The melody was
That's it.
100% there.
Yeah,
Because
it was the
I feel like you were
melody.
like, I'm taking
It's
my
like
time on the runway or something like that.
So
you were
it's
like
stupid
weird
lyrics.
videos,
You're
and
just
it's
scatting.
just like you like making up like yeah, it's just like all the videos of you introducing. It's like bum, 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 and then you would just like say like blurt out a word. Um,
I have this voice
Yeah.
note.
Yeah, right. I'll have to look at it, but
We
I
have
might
a
have had the
question.
melodies to it.
We have a question from Bill Jurgens. Is all of you meant to mean all of one person or all of a group of people, or is it a double entendre?
I
So
think
Andre.
the original intent is one person. Like, it was really thinking more about my wife. But you could also mean it in the spiritual sense too. Like that could be the double entendre. But yeah, I would say all of one person. But yeah, I guess you could do.
Looking at our metrics, we're doing surprisingly well in Salt Lake City, though, I will say.
what?
Yeah. That's a.
Yeah,
And
yeah. I don't know if you guys noticed, but Running High seems to be hitting well with somebody in Coriopolis for some reason. Some guy just keeps playing it.
Shout
Oh,
out to
no.
that guy.
Shout out to
Coriopolis.
Thanks, bro.
That's around where I live.
This is near Pittsburgh, right?
Are you just playing it on repeat, Sadie? Just that one song?
I don't live in Coriopolis.
Who's padding their stats?
Yeah.
We shouldn't be saying these things live, guys.
Yeah, that's a funny question. I didn't even think about it to like a collective for Freely.
Low key, Freely favorite guitar song. I felt like that was the most fun that one. I feel like it's probably some of my best playing on that song, but like no one, I feel like you wouldn't notice because it's like you don't listen for guitar and pop.
It's the glue.
But
that bit,
it's
the
just,
bit
like,
after
real
the first
subtle.
chorus transports me every time I hear it. That's one of like my top 3 favorite moments on like the whole EP.
Yeah.
Dude,
Dude, it gives me the same feeling I had listening to Cliffs of Dover and Guitar Hero the first time I played
oh
it.
baby.
Like, man. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember me and Will editing that guitar stuff because I think Caleb just like laid down a bunch of stuff. Like he was just noodling, and then we're like, "Oh, let's glue this one right here. Let's put this one right here."
Yeah.
And it was kind of cool filling in those like spaces with just little noodling notes.
Yeah, that was fun. That was a really, really fun. That was a fun moment for me too.
Yeah, I think I laid down like 17 tracks or something, and you guys just went through and picked and placed. Yeah, sorry, you're about to transition there.
Yeah, should we move on to Running High?
Yeah.
All right, I got it pulled up here, and we can hit it in 3, 2.
Wait,
1.
sorry, one sec. One sec.
Stop.
I think there's some feedback coming out of someone's I think it might be
It's
Caleb.
Okay. Una segunda.
Sorry. All right, I'm good.
All right. So, in 3, 2, 1, play.
Entering and falling stride, a steady course and fixing mine. Skipping flowers, buying concrete time. On my way, I'm in a haze, on my way. Blurry image passing by, and vivid sound and donut eyes floating under glowing traffic light. Out of my way, I'm in a haze, on my way. I was on a running office red and groaning beanies, yellow shoes and purple feet. I color out and clean the line work. Out of my way, out of the haze, out of my way. Grateful sunlight, rhythm vows that 4 days in and 4 nights out. But did I leave the gas on? Guess I'm out of my way, out of the haze, out of the way. I was on a running high.
Heat. It's honestly heat.
It's it's so funny how that short song probably took the longest amount of time to flesh out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I went a little crazy. I went a little insane. As our dear grandmother could probably attest to, I went a little bit crazy in the post production of that song. I think there's
Yeah, that
one
song's
section. Go ahead.
I was gonna say that song is interesting because it was the first one presented. It's also the one that was changed the most, and it's the one we kind of wrestled over the most too. But in the end, it turned out. I mean, right now it's the top song, so it really turned out well.
Well, this
It
is
took all week to write.
yeah.
Yeah.
This is I feel
Funny.
like a lot about this song is we obviously it was a product of all of us, but this is like me and Caleb, right? Like, and I feel like it's a lot of
Yeah.
mine and Caleb's dynamic is captured in this song as well. Where like
Yeah.
and we've experienced this with the project as well, right? Like because Caleb's a visionary person, and Caleb gets dreams and brings them, and like I am a dreamer and I'm a visionary as well, but I am above all else I am like a doer, an executor. Like I have found myself like, and my role kind of in this project I think was very like eyes on the prize. Like, all right, these ideas are all cool, but like let's get something in the DAW. Like let's actually slap it down type of thing. And so I think like with this song, right, it starts that same way where like Caleb has a vision and then I start trying to get it into reality, and it inherently starts to look different, like look a little bit different than like what.
Yeah.
So there's always like a little bit of a wrestling match that happens there, but the end product ends up being like a very, very beautiful thing. And I will say these are personally like probably some of my favorite lyrics that I've ever had a part in writing, and we wrote them together, and like
Yeah.
it definitely is like it's the theme and the concept is nothing that I would have ever come
Mm.
across on my own in any way, shape, or form. So,
Yeah. It's very personal song to me. Like this is, this is my story. The past 8, 10 years of my life. And it's pretty transparent in that, um, but that's why I feel like it was so cool. And like, I know all of us get along with each other in all different ways, right? We all relate to each other in special ways. And, Will, you and I living together for so many years and like kind of going through the really difficult chapters of our lives, like right next to each other. Us being able to level on that song because only we could kind of like read that with each other.
yeah.
And it was very much like you'd be like, yo, but like what about this? I'm like, yeah, that's it. And then I'd say like, well, what about this? And then you'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. And then you'd be like, well, can we shift it to make it more of like this lyric? And I feel like it was like the most I've ever felt like, I don't know, collaboratively making something good and like both parties just like had the vision in the middle and like we're just coming together to make it happen.
Yeah.
And yeah, like you said, like putting ideas onto like actual paper. I felt like he took like a really loose concept and like made it concrete in a really awesome way. It's cool though. It's funny like how it's like the first day of how we jammed on it compared to like what we have now. It kind of did like a whole circle from like I wanted this acoustic like angsty jam, and then we did the whole band thing, and we had like a whole day of jamming with like drums, bass, guitar, like in person, and then we went to like a lo-fi beat, and then it was like just out in the middle of nowhere, and then somehow it circled back into like a little bit of everything.
Yeah, no,
It's kind of amazing the life cycle of it.
I remember the beat, like instead of like the tom groove, was like you know what I mean, like like yeah,
Well, we had originally envisioned it being a more upbeat full band song, and we kind of realized weren't going to be able to do that. I mean, I remember we were even discussing scrapping it because it was because like the vision for it was not something we could do, and then Will was like, you know what, I'm going to keep working on this, and then it just like turned into something beautiful.
Were we ever
Yeah,
in
I think I
danger of
was, like,
scrapping it? I think you're the only one.
I
who
was like
wants to
changing
scrap.
time signatures and like maybe even changing key in the middle of the song. Like it was like an absolute disaster. Like total guitarist trying
well,
to
Well,
write
that's the
I
real
just-
shame. There were like 5 other songs in your song seed that like could be 6 songs in their own right. They're just like, competing for the same space.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
You
how it
brought
goes.
Bohemian Rhapsody, and we managed
We
to
butchered
capture
it.
just the
we made it into a 2-door cinema club.
But yeah, no, I do remember we were trying to like record it live. We're thinking about live tracking it.
Oh
And
yeah,
we're just
no,
like,
I
we're like,
remember
this is
that.
impossible. We can't do this. And Will's like, I think I can do something with it. And lo and behold,
Yeah.
It just works
Yeah.
so well conceptually.
Lot,
I
a lot of bounces in the graveyard for this song.
Yeah.
It was way
Yeah.
it was way faster, and then Caleb would like go to the different time signature for like the chorus, and we're just like, yeah, and it's like, yeah, but like, how do we get there? You know, but like it all
I
like
do
worked out.
remember that. Yeah, I remember that.
He looked up like,
It
help.
does work if you're doing like a solo performance, but to try to get a whole band on it, I
Yeah,
think that's the
right.
thing is I always, wrote by myself on guitar, and
Yeah,
you
it
just
was-
can't. You can get away with it by yourself, but not.
Yeah.
I couldn't play for a click, like to a click for my life.
I remember like the way it was presented of the song made sense, and then the more we put our own personal touch on it, the more it was like, this isn't really working. This isn't really working, and that's why it was such a struggle.
Yeah.
Yo.
Did we
And I was go keep going. Go ahead.
do we suggest to just do Caleb, like just Caleb guitar and singing? Like, did we suggest that at one point? I feel like we did.
I don't remember that.
Like-
We tried it. We We actually we tried so much with this one,
Yeah.
like at multiple points through the week, and slowly it just got whittled down because yeah.
I remember, Will, you had that one part, like the high with all like the texture and like the harmonies, and it was like the big pause, and like we
Yo,
ended up axing it.
I
But
just
do you have that?
found that. I just
Yeah,
literally I just found that in our text history. I kind of want to share it. I kind of want to like show it if you guys are cool with that.
yeah,
Go
sure.
for it.
Okay. I don't know if this is the right. Here, I think it is the right one.
This is a one-time listen treat for all you guys.
Okay, yeah, this is the right one.
Yeah,
Okay.
burn the video evidence.
Okay.
Is
This
this
is the
getting
right
posted
one.
on the Discord or?
I'll drop it for you guys as well. Here, give me 1 sec.
Just level setting while Will's getting it set up. This was just like a different version where, like, I think it was very clearly something that he had like worked hard and wanted to include. But I think this was like one of the decisions, one of the first decisions I remember making about like where we wanted the EP to sit, right? Like, I think in the end we were like, we want this to be like easy listening. We want this to be like, I think it already is in like a coffee shop playlist, like something unoffensive. Like maybe make you think if you're listening to it, but like I think this adding this particular part would have just like drawn it out of that completely. It's sick. It's just like it changes the song
Yeah,
completely.
it ruins the re-listen value in a way. Like it gives you that one time like well, I'll just play it. All right. You guys all have it in the chat. We're
Yep.
going to hit play in 3, 2, 1, go. Boost the volume for you guys as well.
Entering and falling stride, a steady course and fixing mine. Skipping flowers, buying concrete time. On my way, I'm in a haze on my way. Blurry image passing by, and vivid sound and donut eyes floating under glowing traffic. Out of my way, I'm in a haze on my way. I was on a running office red and crown and green, these yellow shoes and purple feet. I color out and clean the line work. Out of my way, out of the haze, out of my way. Grateful sunlight, rhythm bounce with 4 days.
All right.
You guys
I'm fading
listening to the
it
whole
out
thing?
here.
Oh.
I'll fade it out. Yeah. I mean, that was the
It is so sick.
it is
Bounce
really
8.
cool. Yeah, bounce 8. That was the one that drove that moment. Me tweaking that by little increments was what drove Grandma crazy. 'Cause I was just listening to that on repeat. Yeah, but we could probably move on along. What do y'all think? Is there anything else for this
I
one?
guess is there anything that you wanted to hash out lyrically?
Oh, yo, wait 1 sec. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, I guess I could explain it. I think this one's funny because it's the widest variety of like what people think it's about. Like every time someone brings up a song, they usually get it right. You know, each song, I mean, the only one that's a little more ambiguous, I guess, was the first one, ours, not mine. But for this one, I get like two very different sides. I get people like, oh, I knew it was you because like you love running, or like, oh, it's about running. And so people just take it at that value, and the other people are like, oh, it's you because like you like getting high. It's like, well, past tense, yeah. But like, funny because like the whole thing is about like they're both equally right. Like both of them equally describe me, but it's my story is taking that, you know, I guess my journey and learning how to, I guess, redirect and position my happiness and other things like running, right? Taking it from like substances to something that's like productive and healthy in my life and that like gives me joy and it's just natural. And so it's kind of that shift, and that's why it gets into even like the like office red, grown green. Um, you know, talking about my time in architecture, realizing like, oh man, like I'm still like under control. I'm still like feeling like I guess pent up, and it was running that would get me out of that. Um, I guess being enslaved to something versus being in freedom is kind of like the general gist of the song, and you can feel that, especially with the high, which I think most people take it as like if you're looking at it from a drug sense is like the that release, like getting high, but like really that release for me has been like the actual running, like that seeing your breath on a cold morning, like taking in the trees and the sunlight, like that, that's that feeling of like release and freedom. So I guess that's the best way to say, if the best way to sum it up. So it's a
Yeah,
story, yeah.
the banger. We have a comment that mentions it's cool that the pace of the song is actually a running pace, which I think was intentional. Like I think if you break it down,
Yeah,
it's
that was Will,
spaced out on
dude.
each ear. Like it sounds like the crunch of feet stepping, which is like come on, a song about running. Like we had to do it to him.
Yeah, dude, that was Will. He said, "What do you picture when you like run, or like what's this image?" And I was like, "It's running through a city, slightly rainy morning, and you see the reflection of traffic lights and car lights onto the road. And it's just like that light, casual rain running through the city, just your breath. And that's what you did. And that's when you did that, and that's like basically what set the whole thing up."
Yeah, that and the
So we got a
guitar, that and like running that guitar through like I think I'm actually running it through auto tune, and it feels like the rain element of that, or in like kind of like the psychedelic like. But yeah,
Yeah, it's like warbly a little bit.
yeah.
Adam was asking, like, whenever he was mixing it, he was like, "How did you guys do that? I've never heard that sound before in my life." And like, it adds like a uniqueness to the song that I don't think anybody else would be able to replicate. So
You said you pitch corrected that? Is that how you did that?
I think I ran it through a few different things. I don't remember off the top of my head, but I think I did just straight up auto tuning it was one of them.
Oh, I just assumed it was like a spring reverb. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. I guess I like just to kind of like tag on to what Caleb was saying, like the lyrics here definitely like hold up. Like it's Caleb's story, but I think I found myself like really attaching in a sense of like I think it gets at something really universal, which is just like uh like obviously you can have good habits and you can have bad habits, but some good habits don't actually like serve growth, if that makes sense. Like it's possible to have things that on the surface are like good habits, like oh I get up and I go to the gym every day, and then I go to work and I get all my work done and I'm really good, and then at the end of the day I have 2 teaspoons of yogurt and that's really good, and then I allow myself 30 minutes of binge watching TikToks and I keep it contained to that, so that's good. But it's like you can get to this point sometimes even with like really good habits where like 3 years have gone by and you blink and you're like, "Oh, what like what was I connected to? Like what was I pursuing where I wasn't really putting roots down. I wasn't really growing in any way. I wasn't really even like and you don't always have to be putting roots down or growing, but like I wasn't even really feeling my environment necessarily or like interacting with it because I started actually just like worshiping the freaking structure. And
Mm.
yeah, I think that that's something that's pretty universal. So
Yeah, that's real. I mean, it's funny because like at that time I was just running because I liked it and because I wanted to go to the beach every day and I just liked being outside. And then I got convinced to do a marathon and that totally ruined it for me. Like then it became that worshiping like the structure and like doing what I had to do because I'm supposed to do it and it completely took away like all my joy, like all that freedom. And I had to take off like 6 months because I just like lost the whole thing.
yeah. We had a
So
question.
it's interesting you said it like that. Yeah,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to like, but I feel like this
nah, it's
is
all
a
good.
good thing to talk about actually right now as well. Crystal Hawkins asked, "Have you guys considered this being your permanent project?" Um, and I
I mean,
think
that's kind of we haven't really talked about
yeah.
it.
Um,
Really, yeah. Go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say like I feel like this is an interesting part of the thing, right? Like, kind of a week before this came out, we like Caleb and I kind of butted heads a little bit about like that exact question, and basically like a matter of expectations and stuff. And um, yeah, I don't know. I think it's interesting. I definitely want to hear like all of your takes on it because I think and each of our individual answers to that question are probably interesting in their own way.
Yeah, I mean, like, it kind of goes along with what Caleb was sort of talking about. Well, like, I don't want to turn it into something to where I have to worry about it. Like, it's a structure and, like, it'll take away from the fun of it. If I'm, like, kind of relying on it for an extra source of income, per se, like, I think if we put that pressure on ourselves of, like, hey, we need to release an EP every single year. And then, well, does this song sound too much like another song we did? Well, this song was more successful. Should we try to tailor our sound towards that or something like that? There's all these extra questions that I don't want to have to worry about. I want to make another project, and if it makes us a little extra money, fine, but I don't want it to be something that we put so much expectations on that it loses its um, sort of magic and luster. So that's me personally.
Yeah, I feel like there's a little danger talking about this publicly, but because at least to me, I feel like I'm still letting the thing breathe first and then letting things settle, and then maybe that'd be a discussion later. But I've always been in the position of like I'm open to it. Let's let things go and see what happens.
Yeah. And just to
But
kind of
yeah,
frame this, Andy, is this isn't like a public announcement or anything. I think it is.
yeah,
I think
yeah.
it's
We're
interesting to
going
be
on tour,
transparent.
boys.
I think it's interesting to be transparent about where we all are at this moment.
Yeah, it's just I feel like we haven't really talked about it, and since if people hear us say something like, "Oh, but you said this," and we're like, "Oh no, we were just riffing." So
Well,
just wanted to kind of clarify that.
for those of you on this call, we're just being people.
Um,
We're just talking about how we feel.
I'll
So don't you dare hold us to any weird expectations. You
Yeah.
weirdos.
Matt, I'm interested to hear your answer to this question.
I think I'm probably in a similar boat to SETI. Like, I know like SETI's actually working on like music stuff as part of his livelihood, whereas I'm not. Like, I'm an accountant. Um, but I think I've kind of like I think even if there was just thinking of different hypotheticals, like in a world where there was like even guaranteed money that could support us doing this, like I think I don't know, like I think it would lose something to SETI's point, like or like to your point about like running and like losing its appeal. Like I think it would be stripped of like because this project in essence was trying to capture like the wonderment of like being a child and coming up with your cousins and brothers as your friends and best friends. And I think putting it in that regiment would kind of dull that sensation a bit, which is what we were all setting out to get. Like I think if it pops off, then that's awesome. And I'm definitely open to doing something again and creating, but I don't know, something about I'm not gonna try to like I would be wary of like getting ahead of it. Like we gotta do monthly meetups and like I'm just not I'm not feeling putting a regiment to that because like I don't know, like I'm moving on, I'm doing other stuff in life. Like this will be always be a fun project to come back to if we decide to do that, but I struggle to see it framed as like the main thing that I put my name to, which I think is good because that allows us to like go out and like affect change in our spheres and whatnot. And like I think that's important to the process, right? Like if we come together and we're all having the same experiences, then we can't bring like all the all the rifts that we have with each other and all the differences of opinions that ultimately like sharpen to create a better product, better music.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I With how this started, the vision wasn't really as much us in the cabin as it was us playing on a stage. And I mean, yeah, it's awesome. This project is awesome. And like at bare minimum, I'd love to do it again and make like a chapter two, another 5 songs. Um, but to me, I know I don't have like three of you guys do music full, that's your livelihood. So you have other things you're focused on, and I'm trying to get into that. I'm trying to get into writing down and recording at this point. But if that opportunity presented itself, right? Like if people did latch onto this and if there was a way that the dream of like it being set up that we could go play a couple shows in front of people, I would take it in a heartbeat. I would like drop anything to like do that just because I've wanted to do that my whole life. And like, yeah, I've played in churches and we've done shows together and I've played at bars and like I've played music in front of people, but to like actually be us playing our music for people that want to hear it is like the ultimate dream come true to me. And that wouldn't be I know that wouldn't be like my identity and it wouldn't be my main thing I do in life. I would definitely use that to get, my own story written. And I think all of us would probably use that to get our own projects footed and grounded. But it just at bare minimum, it would just be a cool like experience to say, hey, I went on the road and I played a couple shows and it was awesome. I made a little cash, and even if I lost a little cash, it was so worth it if it sustained me enough to like go to a couple places and play a couple shows. And like, you know what? I'm not saying I'm gonna quit my job right now, but like if it came up, I'd be like, you know what? I need a couple months. There's this opportunity that like very little people get to do, and I'm gonna do it. And that's part of my story. And like that, because like that's the book I want to write for myself, right? And I know you guys we're all at different places with this, and everyone's kind of struggled with like, what do I want to be to varying degrees. And at a certain point, I moved back to Lancaster because I became satisfied with the answer that like I know how to build buildings. Like I'm gonna work construction and work for a good company, and that's probably gonna be my main source of income. But I guess maybe just have always left that one little piece of me that's like, but if the thing comes, like I'm taking it, no doubt. So that's where I'm at with it. And I think we're good enough to do it, quite truthfully. And every time someone asks about the project, they're like, yo, are you guys playing shows? Like the first thing anyone asks. Like people, it's like amazing. I don't know about you guys, but I've been getting texts and calls like every day. Like I've never had anything like this happen before. So I don't know. It feels like it feels real for the first time. So yeah.
Yeah. I don't have any pushback there. Like well articulated.
Yeah.
And yeah, I see the spectrum of both things. I think I feel both things as well. Like where I do think it would be fun to like be able to play together. But because I think it is fun to play together, right? Like not because it's not something that's like to me it's already attainable. Like it's not something that has to be like necessarily like to me that actually already just exists within the lens of like kind of what Seti's saying, where it's like, you know. So I think yeah, I feel both things at once, if that makes sense. And I don't think that they're
We,
oh, go
we
ahead.
got to at least do what Bill said. We got to do a homecoming show at Midway Beach.
The old stomps.
What? Where's that
at?
at?
The very
Do you see the chat?
Yeah.
At the very
No,
least.
no, I'm not on it.
We're doxing
Midway
ourselves.
Beach. Dude, we'll
Let
get people
us
on the
do it,
boats
too.
out there. We'll play on a boat.
Play on a boat. That'd be awesome.
Pontoon
Do
boat,
other
yeah.
people on boats.
Yeah. That'd actually be pretty awesome.
I don't know. Yeah, I agree with you. Well, I think both realities, like just from SETI to what I'm saying, they both have a place, and I don't know what to do with it next. I'm with you also, Andy, of like letting it breathe, just like enjoying like talking to people about it and like seeing what they think and seeing like where the project takes itself. Because we did, I mean, it's not like we did a huge push. We didn't try to get, we're not trying to like get a label. We're not trying to do anything like too create. Like we're not trying to make it regimented. But the fact that the music is spreading to people just because it's good music, I think is a good testament, to like what we have, who we are as people together.
Yeah. Well, cool. I think that's a cool thing to kind of like express at the moment. We got the last song, Hold Me. And after Hold Me, I feel like the head of the octopus should unmute and give any observations or ask any questions that are floating around.
Such a jag off.
So, hold me on 3. We all ready?
Sure.
I don't know if
Where's Kale? There he is.
okay.
Mute your camera, Caleb.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Play.
You hold me like you know me, like you want me, like you did. I'll hold you, 'cause I know you as the old me, like a kid. 'Cause I've been waiting for the perfect line to set the dialogue free. I've been picking through my tangled mind and dancing in the breeze. I'll camp out for a place in line, still not sure what I need. Hold me. You still hold me like you know me, like you want to, like you care. I know you, and You hold me like you know me, like you want me, like you did. I'll hold you, 'cause I know you as the old me, like a kid. I've been waiting for a Friday night. Me, you, the crickets, and a flickering light. Neon highlights in a distant fog. Smiles poured out with the water and wine.
Yep, boys.
It's good stuff.
Good stuff. I mean, I don't think there's too much to say about this one. This was the one that I brought, but like, I feel like the concept's pretty straightforward. It's just like I wanted each of us to like kind of similar to, oh, well, what are our and how do we feel about making this like similar with that framing. It was just like I wanted to kind of facilitate a song where we could each just be like, all right, this is what I feel in this moment. This is what I was feeling at this moment in time. And there's the individual and then there's the collective. And when we all just, you know, we have a... This project couldn't have happened if we didn't have unconditional love with each other. Just straight up. Because we're able to state our opinions bluntly and clearly. We're able to... And then a second later... There's a baseline of love. There's a baseline of holding each other and holding space for each other that allows us each to actually just function as individuals and carry what we have as individuals in that moment. And I'll be honest, boyos, I don't think I have that as pure with any other people as y'all. And so I'm just... deeply appreciative that I live in a reality and like get to have the experience of that, because I know like not everybody gets to have that experience, and like I feel super lucky.
I agree.
Me too.
Completely.
Yeah.
I think
I
that's
was
what
trying
made
to
this. Go ahead, Caleb.
I was gonna say when we released it and I had to post that, not had to, when I wanted to post that Instagram of like, today's the day it's released. I tried to write like I tried to write my post and just try to describe the album, and I couldn't not write that. Like every time I would delete it, I'd start typing again and it would just come out and I'd be like, okay, this is corny. I don't want to write this. And then I try to write something else. I just kept kind of like, by the third time, I just gave up. I was like, all right, like this is just what I have to say, I guess. It's like, I don't know if you got it, it's exactly what Will said. Like it's the love as a baseline that allowed us to argue healthy. It allowed us to like have disagreements and allowed us to make really cool shit because we could get on the same page and see each other's strengths and our weaknesses and like hold, and just like you said, hold each other in that. Because like not many musicians can get together and make something like this in like a couple days. It's just not how it goes, So yeah, I feel like it's effusive. Like you can't not. It just comes out, right?
Yeah. This was also... Oh, go ahead, Sadie.
No, I was going to ask what Andy was going to say, but Will, you go ahead.
I was just going to say this was Elliot's singing debut as well on this project.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, Elliot, come on, Elliot.
Woo!
Hey.
Say some words, Elliot, come on.
So I guess the inspiration for that line and the I actually didn't even write the line, my own line. I don't even know what it means either.
Wait, well, really?
Talkative.
Yeah,
Who wrote it?
probably will.
I think Will wrote it.
Oh, I thought we all write our own lines.
um,
I mean,
We
it
co-wrote
was
it. We co-wrote it.
pulled out of Elliot. Let's put it
Yeah,
that way.
yeah, exactly.
And it
We
was
co-wrote it.
it was given its own literary coloring by Will. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
I will say, in listening to all you during this live stream, it actually is kind of funny piecing together the whole week because I was physically there, but mentally not really there. And so I think I'm like learning about the songs pretty much in the same way that people in the live stream are learning about them. So I'm just as intrigued by like the lyrics of over and over and ours not mine as I think anyone else not part of the project would be listening to it. So it's been fun to listen in on this. It's a little
It
lengthy,
seems like
guys,
you're intrigued
but
about your own line too.
I like David's comment.
Yeah. Did you notice that, Elliot? Did you notice the little Easter egg we hid in that song?
I did, but only because you told me about it the first time showing me. But I didn't actually notice it the first time you showed me the bounce.
But for the casual listener, there's keyboard clacking sounds underneath them.
It's hard to tell because I normally have it playing in the background anyway, so it just kind of blended in.
Which is a fun Easter egg for the song itself, because there's just to pull back the curtain, there's like motifs from everyone's song seed underneath their vocal part. If you go back and listen, you can hear like staged out a little bit differently, but you can hear
Yeah.
like for Andy's part, it's like dun dun, like it has that one hook, part of the
The
hook.
melodies.
Yeah.
I forget that sometimes because it's so like ethereal. It just kind of floats in, and it sound like it's just so light and delicate that like you would never notice unless like you know, or unless you've listened, just somehow like found it. But it's definitely a tight Easter egg.
Yeah, this one was good. It was fun to make.
So we're coming up on 2 hours, which is definitely a decent amount of time to be staring at a screen. I guess I have two curiosities. One is just, Elliot, is there anything floating around your brain, any questions or perspective that you would like to ask or provide?
Well, so next year we are going to be making a video game, so you can expect that
Cut that. Cut that.
10 years from now.
Just I want to say this too. Elliot had a song presentation that was a complete joke. Like he was like,
Dude, he had a slideshow. No one had a slideshow.
yeah, that's the slideshow. So
I liked it. I thought it was a good
I
idea.
thought it was
I
being
like-
joke.
serious.
It wasn't
It was a
I wouldn't
sick
call it a
idea.
joke.
Oh, he was smart. He was tongue in cheek the whole time, dude.
No, it actually wasn't a joke. I really want to make it.
So he's still doing it.
No,
No, I think you just don't
this
get
is
it.
being
bro.
sincere, dude. Like,
It's like a
It's
Krugman
like-
song. That shit's awesome.
No, I was listening to like Tommy Guerrero
probably
and Marty
dying
Robbins
inside.
and Krugman or however you pronounce
like-
the band, and I really wanted to make something with that kind of style.
which is
So
so
could've been
funny.
sick.
Fire dichotomy.
You-
Yeah.
that
We'll back-
that
we'll
whole
back burner
presentation
it.
had a smirk on it.
Yeah,
Oh
but
my
Andy,
gosh.
you're like that guy right now where it's like, dude, it's so funny how like you're so bad and
What? No.
and Elliot's
No, it's like
over
when
there like dying a little bit.
What do you mean?
You surely you didn't
I
mean
thought
to
it
do that abomination of a presentation.
So,
He's
No,
still
like,
joking to
no,
this
'cause,
day,
like,
bro.
Elliot- when Elliot talks, he always has this smirk in his voice. Then I'm just like, he's like, he thinks he's being really funny, right?
I think
We
Yeah,
might
that's
need
just-
to take this bit offline.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Smash number 2 will be unpacking this. It'll be a whole 12 song epic that will we'll stage a conversation talking about whether Elliot is or is not being serious, and then based on the beats of that, we'll have the next album. So that's what you guys can expect next from SMESH. There was one other question that was dropped in chat that I think deserves a little bit of banter and conversation, which is just there's a chat here that says we were promised a discussion about who's the most attractive.
Who said that?
We'll let the chat vote on that one.
Let the
Yeah,
chat
can we get a
vote?
poll? Can we get a straw
one
poll
sec,
going?
I'll get a poll going. Start a poll.
I think the answer is just
No,
Graham?
I can't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's grandma.
probably.
Grandma.
grandmother.
Yeah, who is watching,
Donna.
by the way, and complimented us. She said, "Totally love this project and all of you."
Oh my gosh, my heart.
Smash on.
Smash on.
She's been smashing all week.
We all have.
Smash it up.
I would
Smashed him.
100% not be the person or musician that I am without the support of our grandmother. So, and I think we all
Yeah.
can attest to that. We grew up literally, basically Graham let us use her basement as a giant jam room, essentially. And we've all converged on that space throughout our youth and adult lives to steward and foster this, everything that we talked about, this ability to hold each other, right?
Yeah.
So none of this happens without Graham and Grandpap. So
Yeah, I love you, Grandma, Grandpa.
we love you. And of course our parents,
Yeah, them too.
Yeah, of course. All right.
Yeah, there's yep. Impressions all over the album. We're a product of our environment. But yeah. Lovely to work on this project with you all. Definitely a highlight of that year. Been a lot of fun. I've learned a lot. It was a lot of hard work, which surprised me, but I think it was like good. Like I have a lot of newfound respect for the half of you that are in this space for a living and for the other bits of us that are trying to get more into it. It's a lot of fun, and I love you all dearly.
Love y'all too.
Yeah.
We'll do
Thanks
it
for
again.
thanks for jumping on the idea. It's kind of surreal. I mean, being up there was like definitely one of the highlights of my existence. Just like totally like the culmination of years of how we were raised, and to have something cool to like take away from it is even better. So, yeah.
I think it's appropriate that the idea kind of was brought to the group by Caleb, and Andy said this before, but I think it's really true. Like Caleb, I think if any one of us brought it, like it wouldn't have gained momentum. It wouldn't have kind of taken root the way that it did. And I think it's very appropriate that the last line on the album, which is, "I've been waiting for a Friday night, me, you, the crickets in a flickering light, neon hides in a distant fog, smiles pour out with the water and wine," was just a straight up stanza from Caleb. And I feel that's very appropriate. And gentlemen,
Thanks.
I look forward to the next time we get to actualize that in person. Again, I miss you all.
Same. Yep.
I love you guys.
Love you guys.
Love you guys.
Too.
Thanks for joining, everybody.
Yeah, thanks for
Thank you.
thanks for following along with us, guys.
Hit us up on our socials if you have questions.
Yeah, you can reach out to any one of us.
All right.
I'm gonna cue the outro music. I'm gonna take us off the screen. I'm gonna go to the
right. See you guys.
How can I help you?
Whopper,
Oh, you got an
Whopper.
ad.
Demonetized.
All right, I'm gonna get going.
All right.
I'll see you guys.
Bye, guys.
See you guys.
Bye.
See ya.
Yep.